All right, so this is session 1 of my game, I guess. I don't know what we're calling this. Hi, I'm Grant. Let's go around real quick, introduce the players, starting with Ryan. This feels weird.
I know, right? I'm playing a thing. This is weird. I didn't intro thing. I don't know what to do now. What do you want me to do now?
Say hi, I'm Ryan.
Hi, I'm Ryan.
Okay, and who's your character?
My character is the Air Genasi Shepherd Ruach.
Cool. Ben.
Hi, I'm Ben. I am playing Reepsy Piven, the Satyr Circle of Dreams Druid.
And Peter.
Hi, I'm Peter Martin, and I will be playing Pharamond Bahar, Human Paladin.
And Daniel.
Hi, I'm Daniel Martin, and I'm playing Ansel, the male human rogue inquisitive.
And finally, William.
I'm William, and I'm playing the Dragonborn Wizard, Myastin Zargrax.
Fantastic. And I'm Grant, and I'm the GM for this campaign of indeterminate length, probably fairly short, set in a little place called the High Wastes, north of VR, south of Ajoran, and currently suffering from, shall we say, certain difficulties. Each of you has, for one reason or another, ended up in the town of Sajaroon, which you will see on the map. Hopefully everybody is looking at that.
Yes.
Oh,
Great.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes. It's got the "You Are Here" token.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. Okay. Noted, Daniel. Sajaroon. For many generations, this has acted as a sort of frontier town. From the southwest gate runs a well-maintained road through the chaparral grasslands of northern VR. That road eventually merges with the busy highway leading to the Great Bazaar to the south. The northern gate, by contrast, opens onto a vista of jagged, rocky desert called the High Wastes. The caravan tracks that wind from oasis to oasis and eventually make their way up to Ajoran and back are rough guidelines at best, forming a hard-packed road really only a mile or so out from Sajaroon, as all the roads converge there. The city itself, really a large town, is a place of high walls and higher towers. Its residents have always preferred to build downward into the cool earth and upward to catch the breezes, rather than spreading out into the sun, though of course some spread has been inevitable over the years. Its buildings are likewise tall, usually 3 to 4 stories, some taller. The walls and towers are relatively thin and graceful, and shady canopies are everywhere. Many visitors make an apt comparison to living in a gigantic, colorful tent. These walls and shades not only block the sun, but they tend to minimize the intrusion of dust and sand. Only the larger plazas are truly open, and these at least hold the public fountains that supply Sajaroon with its drinking water. It is, in fact, quite pleasant, and while it's not especially wealthy, its people are on the whole friendly and cosmopolitan. Many of Sajaroon's residents are Caravaneers or the descendants of Caravaneers, and while native Viarans and Ajorans do make up most of the population, only the most unusual humanoids are cause for any real comment. But the tension in Sajaroon is thick of late. The town is overcrowded and underworked. Caravans have been forced to turn back from the wastes, and others expected here are long overdue, leaving merchants and stevedores at loose ends. Travelers from other towns in the high wastes are rare these days, and those few who arrive tell awful tales. Everywhere, there are ugly symptoms of an anxiety that has gripped Sajaroon. Ansel, you have found yourself in Sajaroon for business reasons, as I understand it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Good. You've ended up in an inn named the Greedy Giant. It's run by a dwarven expatriate of the Crossroads named Velgan Hammerthorn. Tell us why you're here.
Yes, I'm here because I'm part of product recovery, and we had a caravan go missing, and I need to account for or recover its contents.
Okay. And who have you contacted here in Sodroon?
All right. Well, I know that the first thing I would have done is contact. The first person I would have contacted is Faramond, because he is normally the go-to person who accompanies our caravans and is quite knowledgeable about the area. So I trust Faramond's decision making quite a bit in this matter.
All right. Faramond, introduce
Yes.
yourself a little bit.
Okay, so Faramond is a human who's getting kind of into his middle years. He's like late 40s, early 50s. He's got some gray in his beard. He's got kind of a wiry look to him. He's not, somebody who's muscular, but he definitely looks quick. And he's got a reputation for being both compassionate and trustworthy, and is somewhere between a mother hen and a mama bear when he's guarding people.
Mhm.
Good.
And how do you know Ruach?
Yeah, Ruach has been a guide for us. I provide like safety and security, and he gets us where we're going by the most efficient means possible.
Okay.
So I've really
And-
come to trust his guidance, and he's gotten us a few places ahead of schedule, which has been great. We've gotten bonuses out of that and out of the desert faster and stuff. That's been wonderful.
And Ryan, tell us a little bit about Ruach.
So Ruach is an Air Genasi shepherd, and he just, in the last couple of years, has stopped being an actual professional shepherd and sort of taken up this life of sort of a shepherd for the great shepherd. Somebody kind of goes places, guides people, does that kind of thing, and has sort of made his living in the meantime just kind of as a guide for caravans. And he's sort of the guy who knows a lot of people because he's just traveled a lot of places and met a lot of people and works with a lot of caravans.
Cool. And speaking of knowing places, tell us about how Ruach knows Miaston.
So Ruach knows Miaston because as a guy who knows people, he needs a guy who knows places, and Miaston Zargrax is a guy who knows places. And he often calls on Miaston when he needs information about maybe what happened to that path we used to take that's now under 6 inches of sand. Because, desert stuff. And just kind of, Miaston's sort of his go-to guy for regional information on, good routes, maybe in safe havens if sandstorms kick up, that kind of thing.
Miaston. William, tell us a little bit about Miaston.
Not too much to tell. Studious, so don't get out very much. But, well, that sounds oxymoronic with somebody that knows the lay of the land, but less social, more exploratory in regard to the geography from the area. So not really a traveler, not a foreigner.
How does Miaston know Reap?
I
know you've
believe
worked together
Reap and I-
before.
Yeah, we've worked together before. I may be able to recognize geography, but when searching for trails, it's very handy to have someone with you that knows the nature and plants that are common to the area. And so we've worked together before on a few different things.
Great. And Ben, tell us a little bit about Reap.
Well, Reap has kind of spent his whole life doing the nature search, and just big fan of nature in general and all things of the natural world, and has kind of drifted to this side of the continent in the area, just in search. Just happens to be right place, right time for everything to go down while he's exploring the land and just taking in the oneness of the world.
All right. So the five of you have gathered in the common room of the Greedy Giant. It is nominally Ansel's idea, but Ansel knows Pharamond and not a whole lot else here in Sajarun. And Pharamond knows Ruach, and Ruach knows Miaston, and Miaston knows a Reap. And then when somebody suggested Reap, Pharamond went, "Oh yeah, I know Reap," and that sort of closed the loop. And here the five of you are. You've heard a fair bit from people in the area here, especially in Sajarun, about all the rumors of what's befallen the high wastes. The high wastes, these roads have always sort of been held together by a rough, patchy network of oases. Those seem to be disappearing. You've got conflicting reports about which ones have actually disappeared, which ones haven't. Some people say none of them have disappeared and people are just going mad, or there's they're all gone, and Sajarun will be empty of water in a day, and everything in between. But something certainly seems to be happening out there, and it certainly seems to be affecting Ansel's company's business. So here the five of you are, talking in a common room over drinks that have gone up in price day by day. What do?
Well, I think at this point, rumors and conjecture are not enough. I think we're going to have to track down and follow the route of our missing caravan.
Where were they? Where were they seen last?
You're going to have to be more specific, because there's a lot of missing caravans.
Oh no. Okay. I'm gonna go with. Rock looks at Ansel. Where do you know they last checked in? If your company keeps track of that, where would have been a stop along their way that they made?
The next town up is Samarat, just for reference. After that, there's a long piece of trail past the Gray Hills and the Five Fangs, and sort of in the shadow of the Five Fangs, the road splits. There's another bit of road that carries on to Sakura. A bit of a camp there at the road. There's an oasis there, and we're at that fork. Somewhere along there, you think they disappeared, but it's hard to tell. If word hasn't come into Sajarun of the caravan's whereabouts, there's really no telling.
I tell all them that.
Well, I'll tell you this much. With this many caravans going missing, I sure don't want to stay here any longer than I have to. There are people out there who clearly need some sort of assistance, and time's a wasting.
Yeah, they need assistance, and I fear the people here are getting rather restless.
Didn't we leave in the morning?
Yes.
So be it.
Okay.
Fairmont kind of smiles like satisfactorily at that. Like, oh, good. Somebody has finally, authorized us to do something.
The good news is that you have most of the day and all of the evening to buy anything else you might need, make any last-minute preparations for heading out into the high wastes. What would each of you like to do?
Okay, so Ansel is going to go to a tailor's, and he's going to get some good travel pants that are going to come up kind of to his midriff, because he's been picturing the other kind of high waist, and so he's just going to get things confused. So he's just going to get high waisted pants.
Okay. Well, that'll be another 2 gold out of your pocket, I suppose, for traveler's clothes that are weirdly cut.
Yep. They said we're going to the high wastes, and this is what Ansel knows high waist means.
Very good.
Right.
Oh, poor Ansel.
Look, if we don't have Trather to make sartorial decisions, someone has to. So this is fine with me. Is there some way, me asking Grant, that Ruach would know we could obtain and also carry a larger than normal amount of water efficiently?
Yeah, so as it happens, there's a lot of wagons in Sajaroon right now.
Oh, interesting. So, like, I could maybe get a hold of one of those wagons and then maybe load it up with, I don't know, some kind of large container full of water. Potentially.
You could. Now, getting the water, I mean,
Harder than
water
getting the
isn't
wagon.
exactly getting the wagon, not too hard. Getting the water, it could be done, but you probably need to do it soon. There's constant rumors of water being rationed. It hasn't actually happened yet. The water seems to be flowing fine, but everybody keeps talking about it. So,
Well, I do have the ability of creating water, so that is not an issue for while we're out, as long as we have containers to store the water in.
Fair enough. Okay, then Ruach will attempt to acquire said small cart and said medium to large sized half dozen or so containers for said water to go in.
great. You can go around a bit. There's a number of caravaneers who've sort of given up. They're selling off goods, selling off wagons, selling off horses, that sort of thing. But you do run into an old friend. This is an Orcish caravaneer, named Yaguk. And she is apparently packing up and getting ready to head out.
Okay, so Ruach walks over. You said, okay, say the name again.
Yaguk.
Yaguk. Yaguk. You're leaving already. That is a shame.
Yes, well, I figure that eventually somebody can get through and, well, I'm good enough to do it.
Fair enough. Will you be taking all of your carts with you?
I'd planned on it, yes.
Would you know where I could acquire one otherwise? I'm in need of a
Where are you
spare.
headed? Where are you headed?
That remains to be seen, my friend. That remains to be seen.
Oh? Heading south, then?
No, north.
Hmm.
Took a commission to head up that way, but I fear we will need some way to carry water. So I look
see.
for cart and container, as it were.
Right. Well, could sell you one of ours. We've had a few people drop off the caravan, but if you're going to be heading out, you could certainly do that. Or, of course, you could travel with us at least as far as Samrat. Your choice.
I would have to speak with the group, but I don't suppose there'd be anything wrong with traveling with your group for that distance. At the very least, it would give us more of a basis to move with through the sands. Not a bad option ever. And then I could just take the card off your hand at Samarat.
Yeah,
What-
that would work. I'm planning to sell my goods there anyway. If making the trip back a little lighter wouldn't be a bad thing, especially if water's running scarce.
What kind of Grant question? What kind of pack animal is a common in the region?
All sorts, honestly. They tend to be hardy. Horses
good.
are, certainly not unknown. And just for the record, it's much easier for me to find battle map tokens of horses than anything else. So expect to see a lot of horses on maps regardless.
That's reasonable. That's reasonable.
But, there can also be things like, large lizards or, some variant on a dromedary.
Okay, so Ben,
Oxen, generally, no, they require more water.
okay. Reepsy is sort of a nature in general guy, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so could Ben maybe make a roll to tell me what kind of creature would best handle the sand and also a moderate-sized load? Because I want something that's going to move well in the sand, and I fear horses might not make that as well.
Sure. There's a very common large lizard, Ben, that is used pretty heavily out here.
Okay.
It's pretty plodding. Lizards are not known for being up and about early in the morning, but they do tend to absorb the desert heat pretty well, and if you can keep poking them and making them go, they do all right.
That up early in the morning, I thought you were talking about me for a second. I was like, hurtful. Accurate, but hurtful.
I've never identified as a lizard more
I
often than
know,
right
right? Yep, makes sense. Okay, Grant, how much would something like that cost of me to acquire?
Oh, probably 40, 50 gold, something like that.
Okay, perfect.
I don't know. Look up a pony.
Well,
Reasonable instructions.
Behold how I GM. I don't know. You figure it out.
Google's pony. Oh,
don't worry about it.
Reskin things.
reskin thing.
Yeah, just don't
Don't
worry
even
about
make
it. We can
money.
expense that.
Okay, we're going to expense that and the cart and 6 large jugs for
Excellent.
the waters and such. And we will name the
Excellent.
lizard shortly, I'm sure, as is our wont
Indeed.
to do.
You know very well, in fact, all of you except Ansel know very well that the Chaparral area here around Sodroom pretty quickly gives way to rocky desert. Samarat is definitely fully in the desert, albeit at the edge of it. Food will be pretty scarce unless you're hunting, and if you're hunting, you're going to be eating pretty much whatever you can get.
Then I suppose along with water, we should probably acquire extra rations for the trip. That doesn't seem unreasonable.
Does not seem unreasonable, no.
We will...
And just a Reap will kind of pipe in when he sees you buying the jugs. It's probably better to buy a 10-gallon cask than individual containers, because unless we plan on catching rain, I don't think I can cast it multiple. I can create water in multiple containers. Unless you want to hand wave that I can create 10 gallons and it goes into 10 containers. But I mean,
my rule is that you make 10 gallons at once and it has to be contiguous, but whatever.
Okay, that works. That's
so if it
I just
fills
want to make
multiple
sure
things, that's fine. Okay.
I mean, you could do some artistic crafting of, little bits leading from one jug to another, but it's however you want to do it. Ultimately, I don't care, and it's not that big a deal.
So. Right.
Reasonable. Okay, so Ruok will acquire 6 containers and also acquire roughly estimated but inaccurately numbered amount of extra rations for a whole group of 5. Sorry, I miscounted. So yeah, I'm assuming I have a food guy.
Everybody here has a food guy.
Reasonable.
Yeah, this
Sadly,
seems like the sort of place where the local cuisine is real good.
It certainly can be if you know the right person to go find and have cook for you. This is not so cosmopolitan an area that or at least so wealthy an area that you get a lot of restaurants.
I was thinking street food.
Well, yeah, there are certain taverns and vendors that definitely have some choice selections.
I'm excited about it. I need choice selections that keep well, but I'm assuming that won't be a problem. It's a town where caravans leave from.
Yeah, travelers' rations are
someone's handling that here.
Easily found and honestly kind of at a bargain price right now.
Because no one's using them.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's unfortunate.
Get like 50 pounds of jerky and 20 pounds of hardtack.
Perfect.
And 1 giant lizard. Perfect.
You'll need to be casting Create Food and Water twice, once for just the water to soak the hardtack.
Accurate.
And while we're going over the loadouts, are we worried about spell components, or are we just selling it?
Unless it's a spell component with a price, I don't care.
Also, bless you.
I am
sneeze.
I am not one of those who tracks the spell components. The spell components were a gimmick for laughs originally, and you may continue to treat them as such.
The sprig of mistletoe for creating water.
Yes.
Or for the good berry.
Rubbing a little piece of amber with a piece of wool for lightning bolt.
Right.
That's perfect, and I love it.
Ansel also gets himself a ridiculous desert hat, but like a really touristy one, like not like a genuine one. But like
Excellent choice.
that says Let's see. That says I've been to Sa de Jaren,
Perfect.
just like right across the brim.
Oh,
Spelled
yeah.
wrong.
I do have some specific stuff I'd like to have Pharamond pick up whenever
Yep.
my turn comes around.
Uh,
Okay, so
Chime in.
first thing he's going to do is he is going to go find a vendor that he has probably worked with on numerous occasions and buy 5 really good quality, nothing special to look at, but the exact style of fabric that you'd want headscarves, one for everybody in the party. He is then going to go and do the exact same thing with water skins. Because if you get separated in a sandstorm, you're going to want something to wrap your head with and water to drink while the rest of the people find you again. So those are the 2 things that he wants to get, and he is willing to buy for the party as a whole.
Good choice.
So and that'll be it
head
for
wrap and-
him,
head
I
wrap
believe.
and extra water bottles.
Yeah, water skins, but yeah.
Cool. That'll run you some minor amount of gold, I'm sure.
Alrighty.
William, anything you're picking up?
Not that I know of.
Sweet. In that case, just assume that at some point you've got a point of, yeah, of course I was prepared for this sitting around.
Okay. Yep.
You have one TBD slot in your
Yeah.
inventory.
1 point of preparation.
All right.
Because gumshoe. All right. And have I missed anyone?
Grant, are we doing metric scaling on currency? 10 silver's worth of gold, 10 gold worth of platinum.
Yeah.
Okay,
And nobody gets to touch Electrum because it's dumb.
fair enough. I
Reasonable.
was hoping that would. Yeah, I don't like it
I don't even-
anyways.
I don't
This is
even
not going to
remember
be
it,
a
so
hard
that's
sell.
Just
Nobody
Treat it
gets
like
to swim in the sewer. Oh darn! I was so looking forward to that.
no, it's one of those weird holdovers, and it's like, I'm not going to get distracted. I promise.
It's what I make jewelry out of.
Yeah, great. Just please don't make Electrum coins. Nobody uses them. They're very silly.
It's a half a gold piece.
Yes,
It's a
Looks like I'll be one gold
because
for the water.
Electrum is a blend of silver and gold, so of course it must be worth half as much as gold.
I'm upset and no.
Yeah,
For
that's
the
that's
listener,
not.
for the listener, for however long we do this podcast, no Electrum. Just assume it's not happening.
Yes.
They made a 50
If I
cent
give it to
coin
you,
for
it's
D&D.
because you know I hate you.
What the crap, man?
we mock it relentlessly in the non-recorded game we have on Saturdays whenever there's Electrum and a treasure table.
There are very
if I
few
wanna
things I kick out of this game for nonsensical reasons. This is the first.
Yes.
Ugh.
The rest, I would also suggest Forgotten Realms naming conventions, also out. All right.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Oh boy, has that been a source of laughs in my Princes of the Apocalypse game. All right. Any other things you guys are doing? Not necessarily buying, but any other preparations you're all making to head out?
I don't think so.
I
Okay.
feel like Ansel would at least try to get a map of the region. It might be an outdated one or just anything, but at least so he can have a map, so he feels like he should know where he is. Might not be
You
that
know
good at
about-
map reading,
I was going to
but
say,
Indeed.
I feel like at some point Ruok is like, he realizes you're looking for a map guy, and I pull you away from that booth and just point at William's character, and I'm like, no, you go talk to him. I brought a map guy. We're good.
Yes.
okay. So I don't
I
have
would-
to go to the Welcome to the Desert Visitor
No,
Center.
we're not going to see. They're lovely people. No.
I consider burning the maps with my
He's mildly offended by the map you bring him.
But this
You
one has
would.
the
You would sell this?
I mean, the problem with that is that you have at least contributed to maps that have been sold here before. And it's very disappointing that they replaced them with that idiot Zane and his maps.
But this one has the locations of the hot springs, and they have like the little logos that has like the little steam bath on it.
Jeez. It's not a map. It's like the map you get when you walk into Dollywood.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
exactly what I was
It's
thinking.
got,
It's like the Disney
where
World
the-
map,
It's like
with
the
like
hot dog stands and like where you buy the hats.
and like people at the top of the ride smiling.
Yes.
All grossly out of proportion.
Yep, that's what I and
That's
then
the
just
one.
shoved away from there and handed an actual terrain map that I don't know how to read.
Like, no tourist maps for you. Like,
This
he's like
This
half
one
a
has
block
your
away by the time the shoving stops.
this one has elevation markers on it, and I'm just lost.
Okay, now we fixed it. We're good now.
Yep, we're good. Carry on.
Fairmont's probably going to spend some time like looking over kind of the gear that everybody else is taking with them into the desert, and just kind of like wrapping any like large metal surfaces that would really heat up in the sun, or, just other little stuff that like makes things more comfortable and less miserable. This doesn't need to be burning hot every time we touch it. Wrap.
Right.
Reasonable.
Okay. Very cool. In that case, unless anybody's got anything else, we can probably fast forward to a little bit before dawn the next day.
Any objections to me letting Twitter name the lizard?
No,
Uh,
that's what
no.
Twitter is for.
Okay, we'll just let
All right.
Twitter name the lizard later.
Okay, I'm going to F6 so we can start the next turn.
F6 as
Okay.
well.
Magic
Excellent.
jokes.
But all right. So if everybody's looking at the map here, you should be able to see that Samurott is itself pretty close to a water source. There are a number of water sources scattered across the map that Miaston can tell you about if you are curious about them. Somebody just cast Burning Hands. That's awesome. All right.
Sorry, I was testing something.
No, that's fine. It's just
I was about to say I did not cast that.
Sir, that was not the wake-up call I
Random rock,
ordered.
Take that.
I don't think that was a cast, and then he just grabbed a piece of metal on accident.
That I did not order that wake-up call.
Okay, well,
all right.
come here. I'll use lay on hands on you.
All right. So you have a bit of adventure in the morning. That's always exciting, right? Get off to a good start, and then out you go into the desert. And I'd love to know what the world ends up naming the lizard. That's exciting.
On that note, for the first probably hour and a half, however long the spell lasts, we'll look it up. But Reap will kind of walk alongside future named Lizard, and just start having a conversation with him, just making sure he's having a good day and talking about his experiences and hearing stories of the lizard's life.
One
So when you-
day's pretty much like the next.
All right,
And
Twitter's no
that's
longer
good.
naming the lizard. We're just naming the lizard Eeyore.
Perfect.
I'll probably let Twitter
bother.
do it, but I'm pretty sure that's where Grant was going, and I love Eeyore, so...
No, little less depressed than Eeyore. More just one day like the next, taking them in stride, moving forward, waiting for my bug meal.
Ooh, bug meal. Perfect.
So when he talks with the animals, is he making lizard noises or is he speaking?
Oh, please
regular?
say yes. Please say he's making lizard noises.
Gain the ability to comprehend and verbally communicate with beasts. It does not say what language is being spoke.
That means it's up to you.
I can also do that, so it's either going to be hissing sounds or, I don't know, orcish or something for fun.
Yeah, I mean, I was
It could also just be you speak, they make noise, and you all understand each other.
right. That's kind of how I figured. That's how I translated it myself. Was
You know,
I can?
we-
It's like talking to
I
your
know
dog when your
R2.
dog actually knows. Yeah, R2.
It's
There
like
you go.
speaking to Chewbacca. Yeah, you don't have to really understand Wookiee. It's fine.
Yeah.
It is entirely up to you how you want to play for that.
All right,
I'm
well,
common.
Cool.
okay.
So it's a very one-sided conversation that everyone else is listening to.
He's Bob Newharting this. You get exactly one half of the conversation.
I'm okay with that.
That's that's a reference for the kids.
I know, right? Can we get a consensus from the group on what color our lizard is? And then I'll stop distracting everyone. Probably.
Orange.
Orange it is.
Nice.
Ooh,
Yeah.
like a giant
kind of
Gila
rough-
monster.
Yeah, kind of a rusty orange.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
Yeah. You'll note looking ahead, it definitely seems to have found that coloration on purpose because some of the hills and sharp, craggy peaks ahead of you have a rather rusty color to them. Not all of them, but there's a number. For something that's called a waste, there's a surprising amount of color out here, although it's mostly earth tones. And where you are, there's quite a bit of life still. You're starting to see bits and pieces where the desert is encroaching, but there's low trees and scrub brush and that sort of thing. It's all dry, but you're in a fairly alive area as far as these things go. Ben, can I
Yes.
get Reap to make me a nature check?
Yes. At least for some reason, Beyond is not wanting to work for me right now. So, taking this sheet, and you want nature.
Yeah. 19. I like it.
That should not have been.
There's a certain amount of there's a certain cycle that everything has been on out here for as long as anybody has lived out here. And there's certain signs that you see that certain things are maybe coming a little early, which might be fine. I mean, sometimes that happens, but certain other things are coming a little late. And as you travel over the course of the day, what's bothersome is that they are not consistent. A mile back, some of those plants are starting to flower a little ahead of schedule. A mile on, some of them haven't even started budding yet. Things are just
Yeah.
a little wobbly feeling out here.
That's not good. Wow. Okay, so I thought I could prepare it, but I didn't. That's great. First fail as a druid. So yeah, so I'll just kind of analyze everything and go back and let the group know. Some things are changing definitely out here. That nature is not whole the way it should be right now.
Not whole. Can you elaborate for me a little?
Not really. It's a sense I'm getting. It's how you have season shifts and you have what a plant is supposed to look like at a certain time. It's almost as if the seasons have progressed differently, or they're just it's the closest analogy I can get for you right now. Like spring is falling more into autumn, but without the beautifulness of autumn, but not quite full death.
Pheromone kind of scrunches his face and gives you a look that's somewhere between incredulity and deep concern. Well, that isn't good.
No,
Have you seen something like this before?
not. Can I make a history check and find out? I wouldn't think so, but
Yeah, of course.
7.
7? Not that you can recall, but maybe something's ringing a bell, but nah, maybe not.
Yeah. No, whatever's happening right here is definitely I would put in the unique category.
That's not comforting at all.
And it should be
man,
noted, these are little variations.
Yeah.
Little stuff leads to big stuff, though.
Like 3 dead leaves on a plant that's supposed to be blooming.
It's never like part of a plant is doing one thing, part of a plant's doing another.
Okay.
It's a bigger scale than that. It's like over here, there's things are a little delayed. Over here, things are a little not.
Okay.
Like, big chunks of desert life are kind of. It's like, oh well, this one hasn't gotten enough water. This one hasn't gotten enough nutrients. This one's got too much and is blooming too fast. Things like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's on a grosser scale for sure than individual plants.
Huh. Interesting. And Ansel's just gonna like pull out his notepad and just write all this stuff down. Ponder.
I'd like to check for something if I can. I'd like to do survival and see if there's any signs of like bizarre fauna behavior. I mean, we're seeing some weirdness in the flora, but are we seeing like increased predation? You know, like carcasses of stuff that hasn't been touched by the scavengers, or you know, like speaking of scavengers, like a bunch of them circling, but there's nothing below or anything like that.
Oh, roll me that survival.
20.
2 20s.
Seems good.
Nice. You're actually kind of noticing not anything weird with the fauna, like behaving in ways that don't make sense. They're all really being quite rational. It's just, for fauna, it's more that things are just scarce feeling. Like,
I would expect it to have seen twice as many foxes by now or something, huh?
A little bit of that, and also, what you see is maybe a little hungrier, a little leaner. You see things, just kind of being a little more aggressive. And usually when an animal is aggressive, it's because it feels it needs to be.
Okay, so as I'm watching him do this, I have a class ability called Speak with Creation. Basically just lets me use Speak with Animals. I'd like to pick an animal I see him identify in the area and use Speak with Animals and also attempt to feed it at the same time.
Okay.
So Peter, pick me an animal.
How about a cute little desert screech owl?
Love it. Okay, so I pull something out of the pack that I think the screech owl will like, and I use Speak with Creation and go over. Little one, come here.
Cool. You guys are doing this at a bit of a stop about 8 miles down the road. Just for the record, each hex on the map, 4 miles.
All right.
So we're 2 hexes outside of Sodgeroon.
Yes. You can do about 24 miles pushing hard, and that's about as far as it is to Samurott, maybe a little less.
Okay.
Yalguk is pushing pretty hard, but she's planning on 2 stops to kind of, rest and water animals and feed them, that sort of thing.
But she intends on 1 day.
She does not feel comfortable trying to make a slow trip to Samurott.
Fair enough. I assume if she doesn't feel comfortable, I probably also don't feel comfortable. I also like that you move the "you are here" thing.
Well, that's what it's for.
I'm a huge fan of it. Okay, so I go up to the little screech owl and kind of motion it over and attempt to feed it.
Great. I mean, you're casting a spell. Functionally, it works until something says otherwise.
Okay. I find one of the plants that Reepsy was looking at, one of the ones he pointed out, and I point to it. When did this start, little one?
The plant started blooming 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 many days ago.
That is earlier than normal, I assume.
It feels earlier.
Is there less food than there used to be?
Yes.
What about the water?
Much less water.
More predator?
yes.
You're asking a predator.
That's true. Yeah, that's touche.
I fight harder for food.
Always a bigger owl, I guess. Okay.
I am a
That's
tiny.
not the line.
I know. I don't
I am
want
a
that.
tiny owl. Most owls are bigger.
That's true. Have you noticed anything causing this unusualness? Have you seen anything different in the desert?
No.
Interesting. Well, little one, thank you for your help. And I pull out another little piece of whatever and just kind of reach out, let him put it in his beak, and then he's free to fly away.
I mean, you also know that screech owls have a somewhat limited range.
Of flight.
Well, of like, their hunting territory
That's
and that
true.
sort of thing.
Habitat, yeah.
Like it's not going to be crossing the desert.
Sure. But what it's seen in this area is both out of place but unidentifiably out of place.
Right.
Is what I'm gathering. Okay, fair enough. I tell Reepsy what the owl told me. Thanks for listening to City on the Hill Gaming. For more information, you can find us online at cityonthehillgaming.com, email us at cityonthehillgaming@gmail.com, or find us on Twitter at cityonthehillgame. For more information on saving the game, you can find Peter, Grant, and Jenny at stgcast.org or at Saving the Game on Twitter. Thanks, and have a blessed day. Special thanks as always to our Patreon backers, Joanne, Ashley, Christina, Andrew, and Tony. We really appreciate you guys.
Marvelous. Do we need to do a sound check?
I don't think it hurts anything. I actually prepared something which is unusual, so why not?
Sweet. I got mine ready.
Okay.
Yeah, I got mine too.
Grant, go
Go
first.
on. You've just arrived on Melee Island, seeking fame and fortune. Your new pirate pals invite you to join their club, just as soon as you've completed 3 tiny trials. The Secret of Monkey Island, a swashbuckling new graphic adventure, challenges you with hilarious and engaging puzzles and storyline. You'll experience eye-gouging 3D graphics in 256-color VGA,
Oh!
proportionally scaled animated characters, and cinematic pans and camera angles. Ear-piercing calypso and reggae music in CD audio. Relentless jabs and jokes only smart people will understand. Point-and-click interface, no typing needed. Gameplay and manual in 5 languages: English, French, German, Italian, and Spanish.
Oh no.
It's got to be one of the Monkey Island games, right?
That is the original Secret of Monkey Island disc that I am holding in my hand. And it's
This
a little cover.
That's
I'm
great.
so terribly upset now. That's atrocious, and I love it.
You're just gonna break out some Guybrush Threepwood action, huh?
So Grant, what
You fight like a cow.
What operating system is that disc for?
It does not say.
Perfect.
I'm a guess.
I'm
Windows
guessing
this
this
was
95.
DOS.
This is in a little
Probably.
paper sleeve. I think it
feels
was
95
probably
to
part
me.
of a package.
Yeah, that's
MS
like
DOS or Windows 95, probably.
I think it'll be 95 because I don't think CD-ROMs were that popular when DOS was still the standard.
Yeah, but Win95 ran on DOS.
Well, yes,
Well, but like
It did,
if it was
yeah.
if it was a 3.1 era game, that would have been on floppy. 3.1.
They had CDs
Oh,
for
did the end of
3.1. I remember a Windows 3.1 install disk.
That's also too much color for 3.1, I think.
256? No, I don't think so.
That's 3.1, my old friend, how I've missed thee.
You got a copyright date on there? That'll solve that real fast.
No, I don't. Well, although, I could do something simple like take the disc out and look at it.
There, you could also just Google. I mean,
IBM CD-ROM or compatible. Trademark
Perfect.
and copyright 1992. LucasArts
Hello.
Entertainment Company.
oh,
Okay, so yeah,
we're in.
Is this
we're in DOS.
Is this Escape From or Tales of?
The Secret of.
The Secret of. Okay. Perfect.
The
Initial
OG.
release date 1990.
Oh.
Yep. This was the
I'm
CD
so
release.
old.
Amiga, Atari, Sega Genesis, DOS.
Grant, you were what, like
I was
10 when this came out or something?
I was born in 83.
Okay, so you were 7 when this came out.
I was 3.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
12.
atrocious.
All
and I
right.
love it.
So-
Ben, hit me with that sound check, I guess.
I don't know how to follow that.
No
Okay.
one does.
Yeah,
Okay.
no one can.
My weapon is my burden, a reminder of the path I was forced to take. When the word weapon is emptied of meaning, when the purpose of the weapon is impossible to grasp, when the rejection of my weapon is of significance to no one other than myself, only then shall I remove it from my arm, because only then will I have earned the right to rid myself of the burden.
I have guesses, but I'm not sure.
That would be Megatron's monologue in Transformers More Than Meets the Eye.
That was not my guess, but that's interesting.
Mine either.
The actual comic book,
Yeah.
read directly from the panel.
Oh, nice. That's cool. Peter, what you got?
In the Middle East, the 2 millennia that preceded the time of Jesus were not the dawn of civilization, but the steps that humanity took during this era were impressive. It was not the age of pyramids, but great builders constructed less heralded works of even greater scope. It was an era of kingships and rebellion, a time of clashing superpowers that built cities and monuments to the gods and the egos of great kings. It was an area where charioteers rode the battlefield like knights, when the warnings of wizards were treated like the voices of the gods, and when empires fell without a trace before an enemy whose footsteps have managed to elude history, the peoples of the sea. And yet, somehow, in the middle of all of this, a small tribe called the Israelites rebelled against the great powers, enduring and becoming the foundation for 3 of the world's great religions. Given how much of human history is shaped by lofty, gilded bullies, it is humbling to consider that these descendants of nomads and slaves, a tiny, historically insignificant culture, could cast such a mighty shadow on human history. It's a great story, but can you turn it into a role-playing game?
Very nice.
That is from the intro of the Testament, role-playing in the biblical era book for 3.0 D&D.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Huh.
William.
Sorry, I never find anything interesting for this.
That's okay. Ryan. Thanks, Ryan. I'd love to. Sorry, couldn't help myself.
Ryan's talking to himself already. This is not a good sign.
It's a great sign. All right, let me try this. Little one, sit. Let Jaijel tell you a story. No, the story of your people, the tribes of the Viaj and Jai. Who we used to be, little ones, and where? Oh, where we used to be. Listen now. The old man smokes on his pipe. Purple smoke wafts upward slowly. The older Air Genasi sits calmly in his favorite chair, surrounded by the children of his village. Air, earth, fire, and water, the elements that the Great Shepherd used to make our world, and to make us as Jinjai. One of the children gives him an inquisitive look. Yes, little ones. We were not always Genasi, as they say. We were the Jinjai, the people of the elements. We made our home here. But then the storms came. Wind, sand, and fire. So we moved. Yes, we. I am older than you think. You should hope to look this good when you reach 900 years like I have. Give or take a few dozen. Follow me, children. I want you to see this. I'm going to stop it there. I wrote a thing about the Genasi a while back, and I guess I'm just going to read it in parts for this.
Awesome.
Cool.
And I think that just leaves Daniel.
Suppose we have only dreamed or made up all those things, trees and grass and sun and moon and stars and Aslan himself. Suppose we have. Well, then all I can say is that, in that case, the made-up things seem a good deal more important than the real ones. That's why I'm going to stand by the play world. I'm on Aslan's side, even if there isn't any Aslan to lead it. I'm going to live like a Narnian, even if there isn't any Narnia. That's Puddleglum from The Silver Chair by C.S. Lewis. Lewis essentially says that maybe sometimes Christianity does look like a fantasy, made-up world where everyone can live in peace and harmony. A place where peace and justice reign. A place where heroes triumph. Yes, Christianity can look like a fantasy. And you know what? That's a good thing. Why shouldn't we strive to make what we see dimly in this looking glass and make it a reality?